Last week, a new trademark application was filed for Beyond Good and Evil, giving us hope that the sequel may be coming after all. Now, plenty of vaporware games do exist, that is, games that are announced and then disappear into the ether never to be released. Now, I was a big fan of the first Beyond Good and Evil game, so today I'm going to talk about former vaporware games that were eventually released. Some games emerged from the depths of development with grace and critical acclaim. Duke Nukem Forever was not one of those games. First announced in 1997 when 3D graphics were a brand new thing, Duke Nukem Forever was being created by 3D Realms, formerly Apogee Games, the developer of the original games. It was a decade before fans got a teaser trailer in 2007. The game then changed developers to 2K after a legal battle with Take-Two. And eventually, after 14 years of development and many delays, Duke Nukem Forever came out with the help of Gearbox Software, and, well, disappointed the hell out of everyone. Unfortunately, the game actually looked and played like it belonged in 1997. Not every vaporware horror story ends in failure though. I mean, just look at Fallout 3. Black Isle Studios headed development of Fallout and Fallout 2, but their parent company, Interplay Entertainment, went bankrupt while Black Isle were working on Fallout 3, which was codenamed Van Buren. The license to create Fallout 3 was eventually sold to Bethesda for just under $2 million. And they ignored all of the work already done on the game and begun work on their own Fallout 3 from scratch. Once Bethesda wrapped up development on a little game called The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, they sat to work on creating their 3D Fallout game, which would arrive 4 years later and be totally awesome. Fortunately, aspects of Black Isle's original Fallout 3 story did surface in Fallout New Vegas, thanks to Obsidian Entertainment, whose co-founder Chris Avallone was the lead designer on the original Van Buren Fallout 3 project. Another game that kept us waiting, this time for almost a decade, was Team Fortress 2. In 1998, Valve told patient fans that Team Fortress 2 would be out shortly. Well, shortly turned out to be 9 years later. Team Fortress began as a popular Quake mod whose creators ended up being hired by Valve. Team Fortress 2 evolved behind the scenes from a modern strategic war game to a cartoonish, fast-paced multiplayer shooter. After 2 delays, Team Fortress 2 entered 6 long years of silent development. And fortunately, the game that arrived was critically acclaimed and exactly what fans were after. And we've been treated to free updates and hilarious promotional videos ever since. These days, a 9-month delay feels like forever, so spare a thought for those who had to wait through a 4-year delay to play Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl. For the uninitiated, Stalker is a survival horror shooter that is set in an alternative reality where a second nuclear disaster occurs at Chernobyl. Much like every other game on this list, Shadow of Chernobyl suffered a load of delays. Publisher THQ even ran a competition to let gamers play a beta version of the game ahead of its release, but the organizers weren't actually able to get their hands on any copies of the games for the winners to play. Awkward. Just 2 months later though, the game was released, and while it was plagued with quite a lot of bugs, the game was praised for its rich world and level design, and was followed up by a sequel, Call of Pripyat. Finally, while Half-Life 3 doesn't qualify for this episode since it's still in that vaporware hole, we can talk about Black Mesa. Black Mesa was intended as a third-party remake of Half-Life, and it's a lovely one at that, but it sure did take a while, as Black Mesa's 8-year development period was peppered with delays. So far, you can play remakes of chapters from Black Mesa Inbound to Lambda Core. These sections were released as a standalone download in 2012 and hit Steam Early Access in 2015. Black Mesa is aiming to recreate the whole of Half-Life in the Source engine, and the dev team has 40 volunteer designers. The project has migrated engines multiple times, most recently over to Valve's 2013 version of the Source engine. It also features a gorgeous score from Joel Nielsen, which is among my personal favorite soundtracks in all of gaming. So, okay, this one isn't actually completely finished yet, but at least we got something to keep us going. Let me know down in the comments which of these games is your favorite and which game you'd like to see escape the vaporware hole. For me, it definitely has to be Beyond Good and Evil 2. Leave me your thoughts, and I will see you again soon.